People who own XRP, the Federal Reserve just announced that they will cut rates by 25 basis points. I know you've all been waiting for this for a long time. Some of you are feeling a lot of different things, but I'm telling you, this is just the beginning of what's to come. I'm aware that some people have the wrong idea that price changes should happen right away. That is not at all the case, and I'm going to show you what is going to happen here. Yes, XRP is going along well. We now have 305, but this is only the beginning of what's to come. In case you missed it, Jerome Powell said a lot of different things. He said some things, he lowered prices, he talked about the economy, but there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. This is what I'm going to really break down for you guys in today's video after I've searched into it more. A very important thing that Chair Jerome Powell has said is that taxes are paid for by people who bring goods into the US. It's great if this is the view of the Fed and everyone sitting there, or if it's what most people think. This also means that more rate cuts are likely because the job market is still getting weaker. This is because tariffs are not directly causing inflation. That's pretty much what he's saying here, if you look closely. Now, one thing Jerome Powell has said many times is that he doesn't know how tariffs will affect the markets or if they will be the cause of inflation. This is so important because of what Jerome Powell said. But this isn't the only thing Jerome Powell has said. In fact, I'm going to go into more detail and show you what I think is going to happen now that we have this 25 basis point cut and the weaker job market data we have been seeing. As an aside, I'd like to point out that if you had been following my Crusader signal, you would not only have gotten a great entry point right here at 295, but you would also have been up on positions if you had been trading with leverage at any point in the last year. Here are 3 examples of good entries you could have made with an average of about 280 per spot if you average down. Then there are 3 exits, with this one being the most expensive at $38. If you had bought at 280 and sold right now at 318, you would be up more than 100% on the trade with just a little leverage. You would be way ahead of the game again if you got another entry right now at about $295. At this point, the price is just holding even at 305. You are welcome to use my warrior signal. We'll talk more about that later. For now, let's talk about the facts. What do you think will happen next? The rate cut today has made people hipster. Given that core PCA inflation is 2.9%, this is the first interest rate cut by the federal government in 30 years. The job market is very weak, which is why this is the case. The meeting today was also important because the Fed dot plot was shown. As you can see below, this shows where Fed officials think interest rates will go. These are the dots. You can see this is what they're saying in essence. They think that rates will be cut twice more before the end of the year. This means that if they cut rates twice more by 25 basis points like they did today, trillions of dollars will come in. This is especially true since Canada is also cutting rates and other world-class economies are doing the same thing at the same time. In other words, the Fed is very split, but this is where they all agree right now. Unemployment is a big problem that needs to be fixed. That is their most important job. Now that we know all of that, we need to find the link between M2 supply and the crypto markets. You guys are lucky because I've been talking about that stuff on this channel for years. There is a 95% price link, and it takes about 3 months for lower Fed rates to lead to more money in circulation. This means that by the end of the year, XRP is likely to reach new all-time highs. But now we're at a much higher rate than we were before, when each coin was worth 50 cents. XRP is worth about $3 a coin right now. This means that our possible move to the upside could be a lot stronger, especially since we have ETFs in play at the same time. Cuts in Fed rates, ETFs, huge amounts of trading, and rising M2 amounts. There will be a huge wave of titles coming into the last 3 months of the year in November, December, and January. Like last year, this year is going to be a record-breaking tear. XRP went from being worth about 48 cents per coin to more than $3 per coin between November and January of last year, if we wanted to see the numbers. In other words, if prices keep going in the same direction, XRP could reach its highest point of around $20 per coin in January 2026. In this case, I think I'll be a little more careful with my guess that the price will peak just above $10 per coin, but we'll see. This makes me really happy. I believe this can only lead to good things, and you would be silly not to make the most of it. The rate of unemployment has gone up, and so have the risks of losing a job. The rate of inflation has gone up and is still pretty high. The economy and growth have slowed down, and the rate of job creation is below the rate needed to break even. When it comes to tariffs, short-term inflation expectations have gone up, and the effects of tariffs on the economy are still unknown. To put it another way, taxes are not as bad as we or some other people thought they would be. In any case, inflation is high, but it's not really a risk issue. The main focus is on unemployment. It's possible that rate cuts will keep coming. Now, as I said, ETFs are on the way. In fact, tomorrow we'll see the start of the first of many ETFs. This is REX shares. The new ETF is being put together by Rex Osprey. It will be an XRP futures and spot ETF. This is really unbelievable. As you can see, Grok does talk about this. Several news sources say that the Rex Osprey XRPR and Doge ETFs give investors spot exposure to XRP and Doge, respectively, through direct ownership and the possible use of derivatives. They start on September 18th, 2025. This is the first spark. Okay. Aside from Rex, there are also much bigger names that are getting into the area. As a result, I believe that huge amounts of money will flow into this area. Plus, just like with Bitcoin ETFs, the price of XRP won't go up right away. It might take a while, but it's on its way. This is perfectly in line with the Fed rate cut M2 cycle, the 3-month leg I just told you about. I think you'll be kicking yourself in 3 months for not dealing more XRP and taking advantage of these dips while the prices are still low now. That's why I'm making this video today. From what I can tell, we're just getting started. There is no doubt in my mind that the price of XRP will be much higher in 3 months than it is now. All-time highs above $10 per coin are a lot higher.